This Angie Stone situation is getting weirder by the day. What really happened that night? Because the evidence that just leaked makes it look like her tragic passing was not an accident, but something planned. Let's talk about it. For weeks, there have been rumors online that Angie's car crash didn't add up. But now, the police accidentally leaked some major receipts, and folks are starting to think there's been a huge cover-up. Like, let's break this down. Why was Angie the only one who passed away? Why haven't we heard a single word from the survivors? What happened to the truck driver? Why hasn't he been arrested or even investigated? And why is footage of the crash being deleted from the internet? Something isn't right. And if you think this is just some internet conspiracy theory, wait until you hear from the eyewitnesses who were there that night. We've all heard the official story. Angie and her team were leaving a Mardi Gras event in Alabama. Their Sprinter van overturned on the highway, but everyone inside was still alive. Then, out of nowhere, a semi-truck smashed into them, and Angie didn't survive. That's what we were told. But when you connect the dots, things start looking very shady. Days before she passed, Angie made a cryptic post on Instagram. "I just discovered something that's been hidden in the dark for too long. My publishing was stolen. And guess what? I know exactly who did it. But don't get it twisted. I'm coming for you." She was about to expose someone. She had receipts, she was naming names, and suddenly, she's gone? Coincidence? I don't think so. Even crazier, the trucking company involved in her crash has a history of sketchy accidents. This is the same company that hit Tracy Morgan in 2014. Tracy sued them for $90 million. They almost killed him too. And get this, a witness has come forward saying Angie did not die in the van. According to them, Angie crawled out of the wreck alive, and then something happened to her outside the van. Now, I need you to let that sink in for a minute. This person says they saw Angie get out of the van with help. She was still alive. Then suddenly, she's gone. How does that make sense? Was this really just a crash, or did something else happen to her afterward?
This made a lot of people start asking questions about what really went down with Angie. I mean, it's been a few weeks since the tragic accident that took her from us, and still, there's no investigation, no mugshots, no updates, no official statements, nothing. It's like she died and nobody cares about finding out the truth. Or better yet, someone is actively trying to cover up the truth about the accident. How else do you explain the timing of this accident? Right when she started exposing UMG and Clive Davis? Yeah, it's not a coincidence. Oh, but that's not even the best part. Wait till you hear directly from a witness who saw the whole thing go down and barely missed getting crushed by the truck that ultimately unalived Angie. So, first, there was this man who came online talking about how Angie did not actually pass away from the initial crash. According to him, there was a Caucasian woman on the scene who helped Angie out of the minivan, and then a man came along in the truck and hit her. Also, witnesses apparently heard loud pops before the accident.
I have some disturbing details to add about Angie Stone's crash. So it just came to my attention after watching a video that people are reporting hearing pop, pop, pop before the crash. Sounds like we may have a case of road rage. Either one, road rage, or two, you know what. Now, it seems that the pop, pop, pop may have been gunshots to the tires, and that will cause the van to lose control.
And then this video of a woman talking about being the one who helped Angie started popping up. According to the woman, she and her daughter were driving along the highway when they noticed Angie's overturned van. She got down and went to investigate, but when she got there, she was shocked to find out that so many people were in the van screaming for help. The woman claimed that when she got there, everyone was still alive, including Angie.
After driving the 6 hours home, showering, and processing it all, here's the story. About 4 a.m. on Saturday morning, me and my daughter were driving to Charleston, South Carolina for her Sweet 16 birthday getaway. We came up to a truck with a trailer and its flashers were on, so we slowed down some, and that's when I noticed there was an overturned vehicle in the fast lane. And it looked like it just happened. I pulled over, I put my flashers on, and I told my daughter to stay in the car, and I ran over. It was a van, and I ran over, and there were so many people in this van, and they were just trying to get out. And I asked if they'd called the cops, and they said, we're just trying to get out. And they were helping this woman out off the side of the van, and I grabbed her hand and I helped her get down, and she seemed out of it, and I was holding her hand and she was wobbling around.
Because let's not forget, people on the scene reported hearing loud pops before the crash happened. And you know what pops usually mean? Were gunshots fired at her tires to force the van to lose control? Was this a setup from the jump? Then things got even creepier when an actual eyewitness, a woman who was driving past the scene with her daughter, came forward. She said they saw the van overturned on the highway and stopped to help. She says Angie was alive when she helped her out of the van. She was holding Angie's hand, helping her walk. Then, out of nowhere, a truck comes speeding in and takes Angie out right in front of her. This lady was so close to being hit herself that she felt the truck brush past her. But what's really strange is how she describes the logistics of the accident, because according to her, that truck had no reason to be there at that time. The math isn't adding up. And here's where it gets even more disturbing. There was dash cam footage from the truck that hit her. It was uploaded online. Now, it's been wiped from the internet, deleted, gone. And suddenly, nobody is talking about it. Even Angie's family has been weirdly silent. After her kids made a statement about her passing, the only other thing they've said is asking for GoFundMe donations for her funeral. Why aren't they asking more questions? Unless, and you didn't hear this from me, they were threatened. And before you say that's a reach, we've seen this happen before. Whitney Houston mysteriously died right before she could expose the industry. Her daughter, Bobby Christina, died the exact same way. Kim Porter was reportedly working on a tell-all before she suddenly got sick and passed. Lisa Left Eye Lopes was working on a documentary. Aaliyah was getting ready to break free from certain contracts. See the pattern? And now Angie, who was literally about to sue the industry, dies in a freak accident. This isn't just a coincidence. This is a story we've seen play out too many times. But it gets even deeper. Angie had a history of getting blackballed in the music industry, mostly because of her relationship with D'Angelo. People don't talk about this enough, but Angie was the mastermind behind some of D'Angelo's biggest music moments. She wrote some of his best songs, helped him shape his entire brand, was a huge part of his rise to success. But when they broke up, D'Angelo's team painted her as a villain. They spread rumors that she ruined his life and got him hooked on substances, and they made sure she was blacklisted from the industry. She went from being one of the most important voices in neo-soul to barely being able to book gigs. And despite all that, Angie was still fighting. She was working on a biopic, suing UMG and demanding her stolen money. And now, she's gone. This was not just an accident. This was the industry cleaning up loose ends. And I bet you, in the next few years, we're going to see a bunch of people suddenly wanting to do an Angie Stone biopic. Who's going to get the money from that? Because you already know her family won't see a dime of it. So let's talk about it. Do you think there's something shady about Angie's passing? Was she taken out because she was exposing the music industry? And why do so many Black artists mysteriously pass away right before exposing the truth? Now, drop your thoughts in the comments, and let's get into this conversation. And before you go, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because this tea is just getting started.